the liveness thing.
Yeah.
Pretending surprise.
Yeah, we're going live, so I get to be Philip Schofield.
Oh, thanks. I get to be Sarah Green. I think I prefer to be Sarah Green than Jamie Theakston, to be honest.
Or you could be, was it Simon Peters?
Yeah.
Or Trevor Simon.
Trevor Robert Neal and Stupid Simon.
To be fair,
Trevor Robert Neal and Stupid Simon.
If Trevor and Simon both got on the same really large lab coat and one stood on the other's shoulders,
they'd be shorter than me.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably. They'd look like something strange like Pinky in the Brain or something like that, I think.
You realise this is perhaps the most surreal conversation ever had on air.
I don't think it is.
Speaking of Pinky in the Brain, someone actually recently got their voice actors to come back and record an extra scene that is hilarious.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
I saw it the day it went up because the guy who got them to record it, I watch his channel.
Right.
And it's just brilliant.
I stumbled across it. I think it might have been a link on, maybe your link on Twitter. I'm not sure. Somebody put it on Twitter and I found it and it's very funny. So yeah, I've got War Machine news we can do in the newsy news and yeah. But there isn't any real new stuff apart from Russ's Warlock. That's news. Can, but we can not hear because you're all kind of noisy and quiet.
Okay.
Oh, he's Braddock's Thor Russes.
Yeah. Yeah, that bad boy is Russ. He tweeted about it. Or put it on Facebook. Or both.
I don't remember seeing that.
I'm sure he did. Sure it says.
Yeah, the new
Russ,
thing you watch, it's solo.
Russ emailed us.
It's a Warlock.
No,
Is it a Warlock?
Large base circle Warlock with lots of rocks and stuff.
Are you sure that's Russ? Because I remember hearing that he did.
He did the lesser Warlock, but he also did that one.
Sure, he did Braddock's. Oh, okay.
I'm sure he posted it.
Yes, it is. It is.
Sorry, I think somebody's agreeing with me, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Yes, Russ did actually email us. He's launching a Kickstarter project for some X-Wing stuff he's designed.
Scenery. Oh, yes, scenery. Somebody said, have I seen it? And I ignored it. Because I was in the car or something. Where's that? How do I find that?
Yeah, da-da-da-da.
Excellent. Thanks for being so complete.
He sent us a thing. What is this?
Why don't we just do Kickstarter Russ Charles? That might work.
Ooh. Those look nice. These
I
want to run a playmat.
Yes, I know, and I'm quite envious of that playmat.
I heard that. I did hear. I read that. Yes.
Oh wow! If that's what I think. Yes. Okay, he's done a scenery asteroid for X-Wing, but with the space slug coming out of it.
Ooh. Oh, it's in. Yeah, I've got it. It's on Twitter. X-Wing, Twitter, Attack Wing versions 2. Oh. And well, how do we get to the link? Compatible modular terrain is nearly ready for release. But I don't see. Is that just linked off of Elemental Miniatures or something? Then perhaps let's have a look at that. Elemental Miniatures.
Where do you two get your cheap X-Wing from that you can't tell me about? Because I'm interested.
I've only managed to do it once.
I'll tell you after the show, or email you because we're live at the moment.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yes.
We're live with guidance counsellors.
So if I just give you that product key,
you're buying X-Wing.
I'm interested.
Or is it a present for someone else?
No.
Well, I like the asteroids with that's cool. Space Slug Topper prototype. I like that. Yes.
That is a nice lot of stuff. The only thing I have to say is that the base isn't.
No, but I'm still on that. Dear Mr. Charles, please take my money.
Yeah, but if he's doing a laser cutter,
I thought he was doing scenery. I thought there was some scenery coming. Is
yeah,
that what I mean? Is that it?
This is X-Wing scenery. But I was going to say, if he's got access to a laser cutter for this, he could get someone to do asteroid-shaped bases with a hole for the peg to go in. So that you would still have the official X-Wing sized asteroids, but you'd have nice floaty terrain pieces to represent them.
You could magnetize them to the base. And that way, when you approach the asteroid, you need to, for any reason, put your widget over it, you can take it off.
Well, it's got the stem there anyway, so you can just kind of pop it off. And...
Yeah, but if you were to give the option to magnetize it, if you're making it as a suggestion to Mr. Charles, that way I would say a possible suggestion. So,
Well, I think we can wrap all this up in one nice audio suggestion file to him.
Audio suggestion file.
Yes.
That sounds like something from
And
it.
then he can have a podcast full of suggestions where he goes, "Crikey, these are all awful. You're terrible people."
But we can say it louder the next time, and then he'll have trouble ignoring us.
Yeah, it's true.
That works for me.
I'm trying to look if there's any other PP news other than
Tycho
Brannigan.
Brahe. Is that something else? No, it's Brannigan. The new Seraph. We didn't really talk about that before, did we?
Oh, the Nerf.
The Nerf and the Seraph.
No, we haven't talked about those. I'll get a picture of those. as
Yaga Yaga, the Death Charmer.
Death Charmer.
Death Charmer.
Oh.
Weird, sneaky,
Oh,
slightly
Jack.
disturbing Dust Till Dawn crocodile.
I hadn't made that association in my
I
mind.
think that sums it up
you very
nicely in a
much.
very horrible way. Nicely in a horrible way.
Oh, that's nice. Front page of ProteaPress.com has SmogCon on it.
It does. I was quite chuffed that on the front page of IMDb in the last few weeks, I saw a Warjack.
Did you?
I did. It was It was San Diego Comic Con, and one of the front pictures on the front 3 pictures they had up there. I refreshed it a few times. It was still there. Was an ironclad. No, the big, huge one.
Oh, Big
blue.
Blue. That being the nickname of PP's own Warjack.
Yeah.
The big one that Will Wheaton's been photographed with.
Oh, okay. What was he trying to do with it?
He was giving a thumbs up.
Is that
Because
a new euphemism?
no, it really isn't.
Okay, good.
Also, I don't want to
He's
think
got a
about
big
Will Wheaton
hammer.
and the word euphemism in any sense. Thank you very much.
Just checking.
I do potentially want to talk a little bit about the PP pins stuff, because there's the chibi stuff that people seem to hate. Therefore, I want to talk about it
Cool.
because I want a chibi Karchev, and I actually have the money now to buy it. Ooh, I bet it's down.
Because you've got a job.
Yes, because my job has elected to pay me. You know.
That's unusual for you.
Yeah. They actually paid me at the last point they could before I went up to the MD and went, excuse me, I believe I'm meant to be paid? Like, oh.
Oh, they didn't?
No, they were overdue by about 2 days. So, excuse me. Hello? I'm recording.
No, I told you not to call me here. No.
No. Drop the
Oh.
goods off at Warehouse 3.
I'm not wearing that again. Told you before.
Quiet you.
No, I'm not putting that on again. No, I'm not telling you what I'm wearing. No, I've asked you not to call me here. Is that about right? No?
Oh, no. I've got
I love the silence from Mike after a while.
No,
He
I'm
stops
just-
talking.
Yeah, no. When I have to do stuff, I have to do stuff.
Have to do stuff.
Yes.
It's not a polite word for people, that isn't stuff.
No. I am busy.
Oh, my mother must be very proud.
She is. Tremendously. All
Excellent. All the time. All proud, all the time.
So, yeah, so we've got the PP pins.
Yes, I had a look at those. Quite like the Madrak. Don't hate Borka either.
There's no chibi Mandrak though, and that's really the only pins worth getting.
Is that right? Magic's not bad. It's quite entertaining.
The edition a bit obsessed with zombies. That's less entertaining.
I like zombies.
It's overplayed, I think.
Zombies?
Yeah.
There's just things overplayed zombies. What planet are you on?
Planet Board of Zombies?
Oh. Okay, so if we have a hiatus from Elite Cadre, which sounds likely, I think that may be the real reason. Nothing to do with some bullshit job. It's to do with some disagreement over zombies.
It might be likely because of the move, essentially.
I think it's a disagreement around zombies.
Yes.
And I will reinforce that in multiple social media aspects.
Yeah.
We're going to have a pretend fight about it. Be good. Be cool.
I believe that zombies are overplayed, and you are wrong.
Let me just think that through a minute. Just the last bit alone. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It's not really a concept I've come across before. I'm not sure I like it. In fact, I know I don't like it.
Well. Do we have a main topic? I'm not sure that we do.
How many factions does Kurt need?
All the factions?
All the time.
So...
PP favorited my I seem to have accidentally gained another faction tweet.
Oh, they favourite everything nowadays. They retweet everything as well.
Yes.
Oh, it does just support everything now. I felt special.
Alex, I've got to say your Netrunner box is far too organised.
Which one? Oh, that's not my Netrunner box. I'm suggesting to someone that they should make one of those for me. I'm in the process of actually organising mine, though, now, with the original divider kind of inverted.
Next, from the Elite Cadre umbrella of products, Kickstarter from Alex Smith on Netrunner box organisation tool thing widget.
See, I kind of ditched most of that. I've got a little box for tokens. I don't bother with the click trackers at all.
No.
Because no one does. They just either use chips or the little acrylic ones that got given out. Yeah.
How lovely.
The only thing with Netrunner is I'm a bit behind, and once you're behind on it, it's just like, oh, what? This does what? Oh, God. My face.
No, my runner deck that I ran this weekend hasn't got many like bang-up snake cards in it. It's quite an old runner deck that I just never got around to updating. I was kind of a little bit scared to use, but did really well with.
You're slowly fading into the background as you talk.
I think I was just petering off while I was talking. I was just saying that my runner deck had lots of old cards in it. Not very many new ones at all. I just not done anything with it. I was actually quite worried about running that one, and that one did the better of the two decks for me.
Okay.
I must admit I was kind of lucky in a sense to get the buy, although I was a bit disappointed after travelling all that way to find out the tournament organiser was playing, yet there was a buy.
Really?
They're not supposed to do that anymore.
Not really.
Given the organised play documents say they shouldn't.
Yeah. But that said, it was a blessing in disguise, really, because although it didn't give me any strength of schedule, it gives you a 4-0. So
Yeah, that works.
Go figure. It's yeah, I got a 4-0, whereas other people didn't get 4-0 in the first round.
That sounds like you won all your games.
No, well, the way it works
You didn't really.
is no. The way it works is you play a game. Well, you play a round which is 2 games, one played as the runner and one played as the corp. And if you win at either game, you get 2 points for that, for the game you won. If you win both games, obviously you get 4 points. So each game you win, you get 2 points for. If it goes to a timeout, whoever has the most agenda points, kind of at that point, gets 1 point. So you get a half victory if you time out. We played 5 rounds, so I 4-0'd the first game, and I finished on 12 points, I think. So I went on to win 4 more games, effectively. I think it was. That was enough. I mean, I don't know. I don't think
The one thing I don't like about Netrunner is the tournament scoring system, because it's really
Yes.
hard to do because it's an asymmetrical game.
Yeah.
So
Just share it 1 second.
it's also insanely complex. But there you go.
I've watched you play it, and yeah, it's my contribution. Like it.
Once you've learned it, it's fine. But it's actually getting round to learning it that's the pain.
Yeah. We've got into high command. That's my kind of card contribution to the conversation, really. I don't really have much. I've seen Netrunner. So you saw you play Netrunner, but I'm like, and you've explained it, and I've gone,
High command is a much
lighter.
game, yeah. And that's not kind of a negative thing. That's just it's a different way of playing, and that's very much more. Here is a deck that I've built for you. In 5 minutes, you will know how to play this game.
What,
You
high
might not know
command?
how to play it well.
Yeah, when you get into deck building of high command, I've got four upgrade packs for high command now. You get into building your decks and choosing your detachments. Oh, that's fun. That's
Well,
fun.
I've got decks that was like specifically tailored around. I'm going to have all the Man of War shock troopers, and it just became impossible to clear me off objectives.
All the Man of War.
I quite like, for a similar reason, I quite like the things like the War Wagon or Sons of Brag. Because not only are they 5 health, which is quite hard to shift, they not impossible, but fairly hard to shift. They also make things cheaper to rush, which is awesome.
Yeah. Oh well, all the Felcors did I?
Okay, normal Fel callers are -2 to the rushing cost. Sons of Brag are -4,
Yeah. That's just yeah.
and they're 5 health.
Yeah.
And the Mountain King is 9 health.
Not to take away from your discussion on High Command, one thing I would say about Netrunner is prior to playing it.
It's very good.
No, he's still kind of part of the conversation.
Good. I like that. It's very good.
But Netrunner, if you've not played it and you're just kind of listening to people talk about it, it does have the ability to just kind of melt your mind and just.
Oh
really,
God, yes.
It's very complicated if you don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on in any game, let alone that sort of thing.
I mean, one of the 3-4 tournaments I went to, I went there, and after game 3, I could actually feel my brain trickling out of my ear. It was that there's that much kind of involvement and bluff, and having to stay on top of things that it just is so headache-inducing. But it's a good game. It just requires like 110% of your brain most of the time.
So like Sex Panther.
Yes. Oh, he's gone again.
Does sound like it's related to Sex Panther.
75% of the time it works.
Works all the time.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Okay, well, when he comes back, we need to get started, and I need to be finished reasonably early if we can. I'm gonna try something insane. I'm gonna try for a low edit episode.
You've done a few of those, haven't we?
No, I mean literally just editing the music and go.
I thought we just took the front off, stuck it at the back, took the music in the adverts, and done.
That's not quite.
Okay. I thought that is what you're aiming for, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Ironically, this bit will probably actually require the most editing. Because I do edit out the bits that are just either entirely procedural or just make no sense or are litigious.
Oh, litigious. Nice.
Yes.
No, I can't think of anything litigious right now. I'm sure I could think of something if I tried.
I may have edited out comments about at least 3 people's jobs on the show.
Oh, what do we?
I don't think I've talked about my job, have I?
One of yours has definitely come up.
Okay. I'm
Oh,
not
in,
talking about
no,
that.
in fact, everyone, including Nick, has had a comment about their job.
Well, Nick and Alex at one point did have a long conversation about where they were working together at the time, didn't they?
Yeah, that required some creative re-editing. Yes. Anyway, so we are going to talk about news-wise. We have Bradigus. We have the Nerf, which we have no idea what it does. We have
We kind of have an inkling in that it is like the Seraph, but more melee oriented.
yeah, there's not really that much that's said about it.
No, but that's what you get though, isn't it? You kind of get that impression that the Seraph shoots and the Nerf bites, and
What
we
have
don't
we
know what his
called it
armor's going to be.
Never trust the fluff text.
Yeah, I'll go with that one. We've got Jagger Jagger.
Yeah,
We've got
Dust
Thin.
of Dawn, sexy crocodile.
Nope. Do not want. Get it in there.
Annoying little creature.
I hadn't even thought about it till I said it.
Right. Hello and welcome to Elite Cadre, the gaming podcast that doesn't
My
take
name's
itself
Nick.
too seriously.
Sorry, your name's Nick.
My name's Nick. Yeah.
Here's Nick. Well done. I'm Mike.
I'm Alex.
I am not Nick.
This is almost turning into a logic puzzle already.
It's a podcast. If people have listened before, if they haven't, where were they?
You're assuming people listen. That's a great mistake to make.
I mean, they download it, but they just leave it lying around for the cat to eat.
Yeah, pretty much. That seems
You,
reasonable.
cat, you can live off downloaded podcasts and like it. I'd like to see that. That'd be awesome. Because the cat wouldn't live up.
Anyway, should we start off with some newsy type things rather than... Well, actually, I say rather than meandering. We are just going to meander into the news anyway, so why bother? Let's start off with a vaguely new Circle Warlock on a large base.
Who may or may not have been sculpted by a friend of the show, Russ Charles.
Well, quite.
We couldn't find any evidence of this, but I'm sure he said that.
He was sculpted by Russ.
I'm sure he said
There we go. It's Bradigus Thor, the Rune Carver.
Now, I've just remembered something. There was the IKRPG character who was called Bradigus something.
Yeah, he
It
was
is
Bradigus
the
Thor.
So it is the same one.
I don't think that's outright been stated. However, they do share a name.
And after the
Artifact.
Victor stroke Oleg Strakov type shenanigans, I don't think PP are going to allow characters to share both names, really, are they? So
Yeah, the original one was Potent Bradigus Thrall, the Black-clad Druid,
there you go.
who was significantly worse looking.
Yes, it's quite a step up in model.
Yes, well, quite. Yeah, there's lot. I mean, he does practically have an epic base for a start. Let's just put
He
that.
is an epic base in of himself.
I mean, he's standing on top of quite a lot of nice runic stones.
Very.
There's a lot of those circling round him with his massive flowing cape.
Do you think he might fling those bits of stone at other people?
I'd say that there's certainly potential for that to occur.
At his command, massive rocks from the ground obliterate man and beast. Never trust fluff.
Never trust the fluff text.
Obliterate, though, surely that means he just kills the behemoth with one rock.
That is pretty much obliterate. The exact wording of obliterate.
You just know it'll turn out to be Earth Sparks now.
Power 40. Bang.
Okay, someone's dreaming far too hard.
I do play a bit of Circle, but not that much.
Yeah. So what do you think of the model then?
It's
Lovely.
fairly epic of proportion, really. It's very, very nice. I love it.
I'm already wincing at how much it's going to cost because there is a lot of.
$35, so.
I'm presuming it's all. Oh no, it's resin and white metal.
Mm.
Be interesting to see what parts of that are resin.
The bits on the edges that need to be lighter, would be my guess.
The rocks. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe even the cape as well.
Yeah.
because that's going to have a fairly thin hanging off point, you'd presume, unless it's been well cut. No? Yes? Okay. Donald, do you know what?
I was going to ignore that because it sounded rude.
Okay, fair enough.
'Cause I don't really like to play up to innuendo.
Well, quite. So yeah, I think it looks very nice. It certainly has a lot of cape swirling action.
Oh yeah. Swoosh. Actually, it reminds me of the swoosh on the coat in Greenwing. Yeah. Anyway, going around the corner. Yes.
So, yes, and I think that's going to turn up potentially as well some kind of painting award for the freehand, because there's a lot of cape on the back there to work with. And you can see on the studio paint they've already gone a bit mad with the freehand back there.
Very nice, like that a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, that's coming up. No idea when he comes out, but I'm sure that all Circle players will be like, "Ooh, we'll have one of those to use their wolds with," because there are rumours he might be wold only. Don't know how far to trust those, but
Interesting.
Not at all.
yeah, probably about as far as I can throw you, Kurt. So that's fair enough.
Yeah, not far.
Well,
Might
you're
get
kind of
hit.
javelin shaped, so
Yeah, but you got to get hold of me, and there's a lot of other issues there as well.
moving on. Next up is it's the two new Legion heavies. Well, one new and one old, but resculpted. It's the Nerif and the Seraph.
The Jareth and the Harrop.
They rhyme, don't they?
Yeah, they're just going to start adding random letters to the start of Erif. Interesting.
Kerif, I think, next, isn't it?
Oh, wait, that one might be taken. It's interesting to see PP switching more and more to flight bases.
More and more.
Yes.
Well, they never were a thing, were they? Well,
No.
now they are a thing.
No, and
So I
then
guess they're gonna-
out came the Cirrus floaty drone things, and now we're seeing Legion heavies on flight bases.
Next, you'll see Cadre heavies on them.
Definitely. Behemoth, I think, is just crying out for it.
Come on. If any model in Cadre is going to get a flight base, it's the Draken.
Got to be the Draken.
I think it should be Scrapjack hopping over a little fence on a flight base.
Let's face it, the possibilities are endless.
They are endless.
Endless
I think it's
possibilities.
literally
Cadre
Star
Jacks on
in
flying
Cadre,
bases.
but there we
I
go.
think that's a challenge to sculptors and painters that put your
I think it should
entire
be a
Cadre
competition.
heavy jacks on a
Run a
flight base.
competition.
Yeah,
Best Cadre heavy on a flight base.
that should be a paint the target for Lost Hemisphere.
Well, I'd say it just wins our eternal affection.
Well, to be fair, they are all in PVC now, so, there is the chance of putting them on a flying base.
In fairness, I know what your eternal affection is like. It's called your wife rings in the middle of dinner.
Oh, still bitter about that.
Anyway,
A little bit bitter after some years, yes.
So you're looking forward to sharing a room at SmogCon? Oh wait, no, you ditched me.
shall we talk about the Nerif?
No, we shan't. We should address the issues in the room.
Which one of the three we're in?
Are you upset with the fact that you have to share with Mr. Buxton instead?
No, I think I'm on my own. I don't know. Nothing came
I thought you
out
share
of that.
Buxton.
Anyway,
Anyway,
the Nerif.
The Nerf.
Yeah, looks quite a bit like the Seraph.
Looks like a fish. Moves like a fish. Sorry.
The main difference is the fact that its tail has gone from that sort of weird serrated knife thing into being a tentacle. You can actually, I'm guessing that those are suckers on the end.
Its head also looks significantly more armoured, like he was going to nut you with it.
Yes. No, that is very true.
I think he looks more like a melee type oriented type thing.
Could be. I mean, there are suggestions. What was the?
Oh, I see. The Seraph delivers serrating blasts of blighted mash, while the Nerf closes to its prey on its prehensile tail before finishing with lethal strikes. So he's got a spray weapon, I reckon.
Okay.
That's my interpretation.
Yeah.
What?
Yes, that tail's going to have something to do with holding in place or dragging in or something along those lines.
Caressing along into the night.
Yes, then you'll have a spray weapon lodged firmly between its legs.
Excellent.
I
Welcome to the
almost,
Cadre.
I almost feel we should move on. I don't feel we can take this seriously. We've gone too far.
They're good. We like them. They're much better than the original clunky
They look very
Liverpool
nice. Are they plastic?
plastic. Yes.
We presume they would be on a flying
Yes.
base, yes.
It says they're plastic. That's the clue.
Yeah. No, that's what I was asking. I just didn't know if they were or not.
No, I think
assume you would say so, but
yeah, with a flying base, you can't really get away with that much metal because it would just
no. Well,
Like
tell
a
that to,
GW Harridan.
I was going to say, tell that to GW in the 90s and 2000s.
I want to put this entire tank on a flight stand. What?
They never had any big flyers on.
They're tanks. Eldar had tanks that flew.
Gyrocopters.
Him, he's right. See,
Oh
gyrocopters.
yes, actually, the dwarf and orc gyrocopters and deathcopters.
Yeah.
Um,
Land speeder. The old land speeder.
Land speeder was very heavy.
That was very, very heavy.
that would
I
have to be
remember-
the very old land speeder.
Yes.
Because
It
I've
would be
got
very
one of the
old.
older ones, and that's still plastic. I'm guessing you mean the one without the front piece, with like the exposed legs and
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
It
the
has
exposed
got-
legs ones. Yes.
yeah. That's going back into the pre-history of wargaming.
I'm afraid
Like it was
that-
yesterday.
Anyway, Nerf and Seraph resculpts look decent. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more you can say. I've never really liked the Legion Beasts myself. They're not my kind of thing. But I know a lot of people like the whole weird eyeless dragon thing they've got going on. And if you like other Legion Beasts, you'll probably like these.
Well said.
Yes, most indeed.
Right, then we move on to Jagger Jagger the Death Charmer.
Is it Jagger Jagger or Yaga Yaga?
I'm going to go for Jagger Jagger.
And
Is it,
do
Cheryl
you think it's a
Swagger Jagger.
deliberate reference to Dust Till Dawn?
I think it probably has to be.
It's quite disturbing.
Yeah. In case you don't know what this is the new Minion Gatorman Warlock. The first female Gatorman.
It's a sexy crocodile, if such a thing exists.
Ugh.
It's disturbing Mike quite a lot.
She appears to have some kind of strange undead version of a Tatzelworm.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, good call. Yeah.
So that could have interesting effect. I'm guessing she's going to have some kind of poison effect on herself and some kind of ranged attack
Why would she
involving
poison herself?
Tatzelworm. Pardon?
Why would you poison it?
Oh, he died midway through the line.
I think he was trying to say, why would she poison herself so she can bite people and hurt them more? Would be my response, because it's a crocodile. So that's what they do.
Also, I'm not sure if the image on PP's page has some sort of bad photoshopping effect, but she seems to have like 3 rows of teeth. No, 2 rows of teeth. That's
What?
actually-
Not when you go face on. Oh yeah, no, 2 rows of teeth. I can see that.
on the bottom jaw. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's an undead skull over there on the outside she's wearing. No, it doesn't look it, does it? Don't know. I see what you mean. There's 2 rows of teeth, aren't there?
Yeah, that's frankly slightly disturbing.
Yeah, because the sexy snake thing wrapped around a crocodile wasn't in the first place.
You're just making it worse now, Kurt. I'm sorry. That's it.
My work here is done.
I feel objectively
Is
ill.
that enough? Got it now? Is it in your head?
I don't care. Yeah, I mean, does appear to have some sort of strange voodoo, undead thing going on. And it's about in line with a lot of the other Gator stuff, just a bit more flamboyant.
Yep. I'd agree with that entirely.
So yeah, it's whatever you do in PP, it's working for you. As the resident, I mean, you play pigs, don't you, more than Gators?
I do play pigs more than gators. I do have some gators. Most of them are unprimed, let alone unpainted. But I do play pigs a lot more. Yes, I'm looking forward to the Death Wheel Hamster thing of Combine Harvester of Doom, which is what I think it's called. If you look it up.
You're going to have like a little musical chip inserted in that. Every time you put it on the table, you press a button and it goes, "Oh, you've got a brand new Combine Harvester."
Yeah, but I might find some unusual remix. Definitely, there are some unusual. I think there's got to be an industrial version of that somewhere.
Or an orchestral version sung by Bill Bailey.
Yeah, that's even better. Bill Bailey doing an orchestral, or Bill Bailey doing Portishead doing "I've Got a Brand New Combine Harvester." That would be awesome. That's what I'm going to try and find.
Actually, one thing we haven't discussed is the fact that they've actually done a new Gatorman posse.
In plastic. Yeah.
Yes, which is cheaper.
Looks cool.
I've got to say, I do like the new posse.
Yeah.
It's a bit more cartoony.
Bit chunky. They're chunkier, aren't they?
But it's like they've got much bigger heads. They look much more muscly, and the weapons are, well, heftier.
Heftier. Yes.
On the subject of Gatesman and looking back at Jagger Jagger, because I didn't
Oh,
actually.
hello again.
Hello again. It would appear that my microphone was muted for some time. I'm not
Yes,
sure quite
yes,
what
it
happened there. But looking at Jagger Jagger, it would appear she's not got 2 rows of teeth. It would be that she's missing some teeth between kind of where the tongue and what looks like the other 2 teeth is actually the edge of the tongue.
Okay.
But I don't think it is that she's sculpted with 2 rows of teeth. I think it's just a slightly dodgy angle on the photo.
Well, there we go.
That's the bottom line.
So, Alex, any thoughts on the new Gatorman?
Yeah, they're very nice. Well, they're a tiny bit cartoony. I'm not sure. I'd quite like to see them in the flesh. But yeah, I think they're a nice improvement on the original, fairly kind of static poses that the old metal ones are in.
Yeah.
That said, I've got 3 units of them, so
3?
yeah.
Why 3?
Well, why not 3? 2 maxing them in. Because I've got a Gatorman army.
Oh, well, that's the right answer. I didn't realize you had to get him an army.
There we go.
Sorry.
So,
Actually, it's short to assume we have all factions, and it's a short list of the ones that we don't have, really, isn't it?
Well, I've never played
well,
them.
We've never had
hope-
them, actually.
Sorry, Mike?
It's a short list of the ones we've never had. Because I don't think we all have current collections of everything.
No. Do any of us have cricks?
Yes. I have Grix.
Do any of us have convergence of cock?
No, don't have convergence.
No, none of us have cock. So, I think that's it, though, isn't it?
Legion?
I'm Legion.
Oh, okay.
I did put a starter box into Firestorm Games basket today and did manage to not click buy.
Oh, you are awful.
This is maritime.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could talk about Retribution if you like. I didn't own Retribution on Friday.
Okay. Well,
Moving on.
Yes, let's
Yeah.
move on again. Project Press released some new pins for. Oh, it was San Diego Comic Con, and because it was a comic convention, of course they were zombies and chibis. So, yeah.
Ooh. I didn't see the zombie warcasters. Did you notice those?
Yeah, the zombie.
I saw the chibi hordes ones. They're not all hordes, are they? Oh, Resnick. Oh, there's so many. There's so many that I like. I didn't really look properly. I just looked at the troll ones and didn't really pay attention. That's Ashlyn, isn't it?
There is a chibi Ashlyn.
I didn't see the chibi Ashlyn before.
Mike, what have we done?
But
What have we created?
yeah, the basic Warcaster set is Gorshade, Morvana, Ashlyn, Resnick, and Borka.
Zombie Gumbjorn, didn't see him either.
Someone's going to come to an event with their bag covered in pins.
Someone.
So some people have been a bit kind of, I don't know, not upset, but taken aback by this because chibis are popular. But then again, zombies are popular, and I just whatever. You can have your zombie pins. That's fine. I shall have Chibi Karchev.
Well, that's kind of a zombie anyway, so you're really
He's
kind
not
of...
really a zombie. He's not dead. He's just on life support.
Yeah, if you want to tell yourself that to kind of make it rationalised, but, whatever.
But yeah, the pin stuff is interesting. I mean, PP have never been at the forefront of selling non-model, non-book products, and it's interesting to see them kind of branching out more and more and trying to see what works.
There was a long time calls for them to produce some plushies.
Yes.
I don't know if that will ever come to fruition, but there'll be several people on the forums
Who would not want a
rejoice.
plushie Juggernaut? Come on.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say no myself. Maybe get the kids into wargaming.
Yep, there you go. The other one they've
Scare
done-
them by leaving them on the bed at night when they're asleep and they wake up to them in the morning.
Yeah. Could be like the Scare Bears or Werebears, I think they were called.
Yes, I do remember.
They're all nice and fluffy when on one side, then you turn them inside out, and they're horrible, horrific, monstrous things.
That weren't really that horrific, but
No, really, not really. Looking back now, specifically.
The other thing they've done recently is the faction jerseys. I don't know how I feel.
They're interesting.
Yeah, obviously they're already not sized for the heftier gentlemen.
You mean
No,
the
they're not.
majority of wargamers?
Yes. Well, no, it goes up to 3XL.
They are American 3XL as well.
American 3XL, that's fucking huge.
They
They will be rather large, I would say.
You think so, but the problem is that once you get into the 3 and 4XLs, it actually goes back down to British sizes, or even less in some cases. So, the American XL and XXL may be large, but I can assure you.
I own a 2XL t-shirt and it's ridiculously enormous.
Yeah, I've got an American football jersey that's XL, and I know they're kind of meant to be a little bit bigger anyway.
It's
But
down to your knees, isn't it? I've seen you wear that.
yeah, pretty much. It's like a dress.
This is
Like
the
a dress,
whole
you mean it
thing
is a
of-
dress.
This is like the whole thing of I can wear an American 2XL ice hockey shirt because again, that's meant to have pads under it.
Do you not wear pants? Anyway,
I
moving
come
on.
in natural padding. Yeah, I think what they've done with designs on these is interesting, but at the same point,
Are these purchasable or are they only available at the con and they're just there to tease us?
they're purchasable.
No, you can buy them online.
Yeah, you can buy a Troll Blood one.
Quite like the zombie Gumby one, didn't see that before.
Oh no, you're still talking about the pins. I'm on the. Yes.
I'm sorry, I got stuck. I don't care about t-shirts and stuff.
I would say that I agree with the thoughts of one other podcast in that I would like to see hockey shirts instead. Because hockey shirts are far cooler.
Apparel.
Yes.
Apparel. That's the old-fashioned t-shirts. Old-fashioned t-shirt. Oh, okay.
It's on the front page under Privateer Apparel. With a little gobber that says represent for some reason.
I wonder whether they'll have a SmogCon exclusive.
A SmogCon exclusive pin, I don't think.
No, jersey. I would imagine they'd have a SmogCon exclusive pin. I would hope they would. Give some love to the UK, the European gaming scene as a whole. Really.
Yes. So, okay. There is all of that.
All of that.
Yes. And I have become very aware that we didn't actually discuss the topic.
Yeah.
Netrunner.
I think Kurt might die.
You can do that. I have perfected my ability to snore. It's fantastic.
Well, shall we talk about, Alex, your experience going to a Netrunner tournament?
I could do.
That sounded very strangled.
We could do. It was kind of meant to sound a little bit strangled. I don't know if my experience going to a Netrunner tournament warrants a topic, but we can do.
We can have a discussion about it, and then later on people can judge you.
People judge me most of the time anyway.
Yeah, we'll be judging you already anyway. So tell us about this Netrunner tournament you went to. Come on.
Well, it was in York, which was nice. There was the York 10K on at the same time, so that was nice, trying to get there with the somewhat inclement traffic. But,
Lovely. Always good.
yeah, always good to arrange a tournament on the same day as I wouldn't go as far as a major sporting event, but a sporting event nonetheless. So yeah, it was a nice drive down. Went down with one of the guys from our local gaming club and another chap from Stockport. I don't really know what to say.
Well done, Alex. That's very well presented.
I don't really know what to
It's
say.
a fascinating report. I was enthralled.
I love the fact that we say to Kurt talk about the Welsh Open. 25 minutes later, we
Shut
have
up, Kurt. Yeah.
we say to Kurt,
well,
talk about
Kurt,
UK Games Expo. 25 minutes later, we have a topic. Talk to
Well, I
Alex.
keep talk. I do that a lot. We want Alex. You gonna talk or what? We drove to York.
Yes, okay.
The weather was
talk.
right. Traffic was a bit busy.
We could first of all talk about, because people might not have heard of Netrunner.
Yeah.
It's
No, I think
possible.
that's
Maybe talk about sort of what it is and what kind of pushed you towards it first of all.
okay. So Netrunner is, to quote the cover of the box, it's something like a. Let's have a look. What does it say? It is a card game of cyber struggles in a dystopian future.
Oh,
It is actually based on a relatively older game, also called Netrunner. The current, in inverted commas, version is called Android Netrunner. It's published by Fantasy Flight Games, and it is effectively set in their own Android universe. However, the game system is
an Android
Netrunner.
universe.
Well, that's their universe is called Android.
They have a
Is there a
multiple,
board game called that as well?
Yes, that's it. That's where it started. Is with the board game.
I see.
thing. There's Android Netrunner, Android Infiltration, is it?
Yeah, Infiltration is kind of a deck building card game, I think.
Infiltration. I like it.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to a lot of other cyberpunk universes.
Yes.
If you're familiar with something like Shadowrun, just without the
Cyberpunk
four
2020.
trolls.
I think the original Netrunner, the IP from it was from Cyberpunk 2020.
Yeah.
It was where the IP was, because netrunning was part of that game. And basically, the idea behind the game, the backstory behind the game is one side plays the runner, which is a hacker who's trying to hack into a corporation, which is the other side, and steal their agenda, or agendas. Agenda is the plural, I think. Anyway, trying to steal their agenda. The corporation are conversely trying to advance those agendas and effectively bring them to fruition before the runner has a chance to steal them. The corporation has to set up ICE, which Kurt means
Intruder Countermeasure Electronics.
Yep, but basically like firewalls, antivirus software, that sort of stuff.
It's not a techie term. It's a William Gibson term.
Yeah, that's it. It's a it's not kind of a real thing, but it is in kind of modern terms, effectively, let's say antivirus, firewalls, that sort of thing, to stop the runner from being able to gain access to his servers.
So how much hacking training do you have to have before you can...
lots. You have to go through hours and hours of training. It is a game, kind of I've said to a few people, and on the kind of the...
Because you're a very technical kind of guy, aren't you?
Not at all. But from the outside looking in, it is a very, very... not complex, but kind of difficult to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
A lot of the terminology in it, and it's all.
It goes so far as to replace the terms for hand, deck, graveyard, with R&D.
Well, it's different for both sides as well. For the corporation, it's one thing, and for the runner, it's another.
Yeah.
So that further complicates things. But that said, I saw a few people playing it and was kind of interested to play it. And the first time I kind of saw anyone playing it was not the UK Games Expo just gone, but the one previously. I saw yourself, Mike, playing against Chris Cawthorne, and as I say, I kind of wanted to look at it, but then when you were playing it, it looked very complicated, and that kind of scared me away for a bit. And then I spoke to a few people, and a few good friends who used to play War Machine, kind of stopped playing it and started playing more Netrunner, who said it was well worth a try. It was at the Games Expo, and picked some up, and just kind of basically ran with it from there.
Well, I think actual games-wise, it does have an incredibly low buy-in, because you can just, you and your friend, pick up a Netrunner starter box, which is something along the lines of £25, and you both take the neutral cards from there, mash it together with one of the factions, and there you go. There's a deck for each of you, and with the cards in the box, you can make something like 7 different decks. So for your £25, you've essentially got a nice 2-player boxed card game. If you don't like it, there's plenty of people you can sort of hoist it onto.
Yeah.
I mean, I got mine from Austin Pickles, second hand. So that was a kind of a good deal. So yeah, it's a good low buy-in. Admittedly, if you want to get the whole collection, as with any game, that costs a lot more. Yeah.
Good.
Sorry, I had to just mute them for a second. But yeah, no, you're quite right. It is a game that, if you want to just spend 25 quid on it, you can get some benefit. Just 1 second, guys.
I think he likes it. That's
Yes.
what it's the gist of what I'm getting. I've
Absolutely.
seen you play it. It's complicated. I'm kind of curious, but there's too many other things going on.
Well, I would say that the complexity that's in there is very much one of, once you learn the terminology of the game, more than anything else, you will have got in there. Once you know what things are called,
Like cards.
well, yeah, all the cards you have suddenly make a lot more sense, and you can go, oh, right, okay, I understand what this does now.
It is. The simplicity of it is it is a simple game to get once you get your head around the terminology and what each card does, and the fact that it's an asymmetrical game as well, and you're not going to be using the same cards and doing the same things. You're going to be doing different things each side. It is, I think it is a fantastic game, and it is well worth.
I actually think that's the most interesting thing about it, that sort of not a lot of people tend to talk about, the fact that it is entirely asymmetrical. You can't play runner versus runner or corp versus corp. You have to have one corp and one runner, and the psychology of playing either side is tremendously different. And I think it's important to stress this is a game that's based a lot around bluffing.
Yeah, I got that impression when you're playing it. Yeah.
Yeah, as the corporation's playing, they are laying down their defences face down, so that the runner can't actually see, before they go in on a run, what they're going to be up against. And there's this whole as well as that, they can't see what the card at that's based in the server is at the end. It could be, an amazing agenda that the corporation can't afford to develop at the moment, or it could be a trap.
Yeah.
That gets rid of the runner's entire hand in one go.
And that is. Sorry, go on.
Right. Well, okay. It's the whole kind of thing of, okay, you're not just playing the game, you're playing the opponent as well.
Yeah.
Once you picked up on sort of like, okay, they won't run on this, you can start playing with that. I've seen people develop agendas just completely out in the open with no defenses because they know the runner won't go for it.
Yeah.
And watching that kind of stuff is impressive.
You can do that, like you say. You can just really be, to a degree, a little bit cheeky with it from time to time, and just go if you kind of, there's certain factions kind of specialize in doing certain things, and if you're kind of playing one of those factions, it kind of can scare people into not running on a certain server, or setting something up and doing it, or doing it in a way that it looks like a server that's got an agenda in, and then they run on it, and like you say, you do damage to them. And that is another way for the corporation to win, is to do a significant amount of damage to the runner that it effectively flatlines and kills him. So as he's jacked into his computer, he basically his brain just melts out of his ear a little bit.
Yeah. I probably should stress that there's 4 corporations in this, and 3 kinds of runner.
Yeah, that's kind of the big difference from the first big difference from the original set, is that you've got the factions. There's different factions. There's 7 different factions altogether. Like you say, 3 runner, 4 corporation. In the core set, you get 1 identity from each one, which gives you its own sort of unique abilities that you use as the game goes on. Some of them are stronger than others. As I say, each corporation and each identity has its own strengths and weaknesses, and you can kind of play to those and develop them from there.
Yeah. So it's, I mean,
It does sound cool. It does sound cool. It does make me kind of want to look into it more.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if there's a scene of it near you, or you know anyone who plays it, just ask for a demo game, because it's a game that is much more easily played by one person who's experienced with another person who isn't than it is explained. You can sit down with 2 people who've never played the game before and go, right, how does this work? But Fantasy Flight rule books being what they are.
Well, I find you can do it with X-Wing, but thinking about in the past, doing that with War Machine was always a challenge.
Yes.
I learned War Machine with me and one mate, and we'd never played it with anybody else, and we sat down and learned hordes from the book, and we had so many things wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, the book is... It's okay. There's quite a few things that are maybe not quite clear, and
Again, I'm going to say, it's a Fantasy Flight rulebook.
Yeah.
What I expect from Fantasy Flight is some gorgeous box art, some lovely contents that are lovingly crafted and are good quality, and a rulebook that has been proofread by a chimp. It will contain lots of lovely art and diagrams and flavor text and everything else you can imagine. It will be beautifully formatted, but will read in such a way that you're left there on turn 2 of any game going, what? Sorry? No, hang on.
I think X-Wing is the exception to that.
Even then, there are some rules with X-Wing that people
you can play it. You get some minor details wrong, but you can play it and have a lot. And it flies fairly quickly and well out of the box, I find.
How asteroids work is a classic one that people can't.
Yeah, but you don't put asteroids on the table with first few games, do you?
You do.
Oh, okay.
If you're playing
advanced sections of rules further back, they're not at the beginning. You don't put them on the first few games.
Okay, fair enough. We jumped straight in. We didn't play the starter 2 times.
But then whose fault is that?
Well, ours. But we'd read the rule book to death before then and watched a couple of games as well. So we kind of.
Yeah.
Actually, this is almost an important point about wargaming as a whole. It's the whole thing of. Yes. It's the thing of learning together with a friend when both of you have 0 knowledge versus
another person that you've met.
Okay, another person then. A friend or frenemy or acquaintance, whatever.
Or Nick. Someone like that.
I'm not going to say it anymore. I did actually learn War Machine with Nick. And
See,
that was
a random
interesting.
comment, even though it was.
Yeah, that was...
One thing I would say about learning Netrunner, though, coming back to that before we do diverge away too far from that, is online there are a massive volume of people who record games from tournaments, post them online with commentaries, and that is a fantastic way of and looking for specific interactions between certain cards is a great way of doing that. You can look and see that one card works with that way, and as well, the community in the UK, we're quite lucky. There's a netrunners.co.uk is a very good website that's got a forum on there with a lot of sort of well-experienced players who are more than happy to answer any questions. That's where kind of I managed to pick up a lot of advice when I was first starting, and a few rules interactions that didn't quite make sense from the book, and needed a little bit of clarification. So if you learn it with someone new, that's great. But then again, it's also good to have someone who's experienced there, who can sort of say, well, actually, no, that card works that way with that way. If you look in this part of the rulebook, it actually explains here that the timing works in this way, and that this player has the priority at that time. And I think it's a very valid point that you kind of it's good to learn with somebody new. But it's also good to have someone who's experienced there. And if you've not got that, as I say, there are currently tools out there in the community.
Well, I would say that the resource for me actually watching games is Team Covenant.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah,
pretty good coverage, especially of the big tournaments. I mean, one of the things that actually got me into the game was watching, I think it was a single round that lasted an hour. Which was, what was it, Haas Bioroid versus a criminal deck.
I like their I think their unboxings are some of the best as well.
Yes, they do. Well, they do unboxings for both Netrunner and X-Wing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they are quite good. I do have to say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of a hard sell of the product, but to be honest, if they're going to produce kind of free community videos, I think having a
You've got to kind of expect that to a degree.
Buy stuff from us is not, a terrible trade-off.
No, I don't think so. They're good lads as well.
Yeah. I mean, they did delve into War Machine, but I think they're kind of the
They
less.
try and get a bit more representation, and I did talk to them about War Machine for quite a little while, but I've kind of it was, that conversation probably waned because I didn't keep it up more than they didn't keep pushing.
Well, I believe Team Covenant used to actually, when they first started, used to actually be quite big with War Machine. But they kind of
it was Versus and then Monpok. They were massively into Monpok. They were part of the reason I got so into Monpok. And then when Monpok started to wane, they did look at War Machine in quite a big way. But I think
I will say there are legal reasons why they don't touch War Machine anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say there was something of a split between the two of them.
Yeah, that's familiar actually. I forgot about that.
I was going to say having a room with two PGs in it is probably best not to venture down that alleyway too far. But yes, they're a good resource for both Netrunner and X-Wing.
Very good for X-Wing.
They do have some recorded X-Wing games as well. Which
they do.
That's interesting to watch.
And the forum is really good for X-Wing. Some of the posts, actually, one of the posts from their forum got picked up and put onto the Fantasy Flight update on X-Wing pages.
Oh right, okay.
The post that was about the Phantom,
the two distance barrel roll was this?
Well, yeah, but about Echo and the way he does his curve as well. It was going into more detail about Echo and about where Echo can be, and this guy. I can't remember his name now, it's gone. He did a diagram of where Echo would place when he decloaks and then where he could move to. And the possibilities like 96 different positions he could be in if he decloaks. And it was just insane.
Love having a good discussion about that, Renner.
Well, we're all discussing games we love.
Yeah,
So, okay, now that we know a little bit about Netrunner and what kind of drew you to it.
Yeah.
How did you find taking? I presume you'd had quite a few games beforehand.
And how was the weather on the drive?
Oh, shut up. Another good resource as well for learning the game I found early on, because I think with any card game, I think card games specifically, you have to cram to a degree to get kind of experience with what the cards are doing, and what combos are good and things like that. And as I say, I think it's good to play a high volume of games early on. So there is a tool for War Machine Hordes players will be aware of something similar by the name of Vassal. This program is called Octagon, and it is basically an online tabletop that allows you to play card games.
If you're searching for that online, OCTGN.
OCTGN, not Octagon. But yeah, so it's a very, very handy product that he's free again, like Vassal. Obviously they have the option there to subscribe and pay a donation each month to gain certain benefits within the platform, and obviously
That is
keep
just
the
ignoring some
platform.
mag boxes and so on and so forth, I believe, for Octagon, isn't it?
Yeah, you can change like backgrounds, and you can allow people to spectate, and you can. One thing you can't do on Octagon is kind of once a game has started, you can't then join it and think it's a bit kind of quirky in that sense. So kind of subscribing gives you benefits. It kind of mitigates some of those. So yeah, but again, if you're just wanting to play a few pickup games on there, it's a great resource that is essentially free. So that was good. I played a lot of games on there as I kind of started getting into the game more. But yeah, so played a few games with guys down at the local club as well. Got a couple of the guys there involved in the game, which was nice. And then, as I say, went down to the tournament, which was actually yesterday in York. So for anyone who plays Netrunner, the factions I played was Jinteki for my corp with the identity replicating perfection, and for runner I went with Criminal and Gabriel Santiago. He's one of the core set identities. I did quite well. I had a bye in the first round, which was a little bit disappointing to not play that first game, but then to the same extent, a bye enables you to have effectively a total victory, which gives you 4 prestige points, which is how they work the scenario, the
Not
tournament.
going to the tournament system. It
No,
is
I'm not going to go into
dark art. I'm sorry. I have read the documentation on how to run a tournament. I stopped reading at the point where my eyes started to bleed.
Similar to kind of the tournament points in Steamroller, you get what are called prestige points for winning your games, and depending on how many games you win, because each round effectively is composed of you playing as the runner and you also playing as the corporation, so you don't sort of choose one.
It is also timed, so you only have a certain amount. Oh, sorry, the round is timed. Your turns are not timed.
Yes,
so...
each round overall is an hour. So effectively, if one game ran for an hour, then only that one game would be scored, I believe. I don't know how it would work. If it did, I'm not sure. But fortunately,
I know at one point there was a timeout, and you at least had to play 2 turns as the other side to allow for certain mechanics to happen.
Just see if someone could get it.
Again, part of the insane tournament setup. Largely put, it works. Just don't think too much about how it works.
Yeah, I'd say the day went quite well. No major hitches really. But yeah, I'd say I had the first round bye, which was, I'd say, kind of blessing and a curse. I did relatively well. I think probably the corporation did a little less well than the runner. I think the runner deck was the better of the 2 decks, but I think for me personally, looking back, the times both decks didn't work well was when kind of the drawing of cards didn't go too well and kind of went against me. That was as again with any card game, if the draw goes against you and you're not drawing the right cards out, then you're always going to be battling fighting a losing battle to a degree.
Well, I think almost doubly so in Netrunner, because again, one of the key mechanics, just to go back to this, is the system of clicks, where you have a certain number of actions on each of your turns, and they can be used for, like, gaining money, playing certain cards, or in fact drawing cards. And if you are drawing useless cards, you can very quickly go down a bad well of just having a handful of stuff that is completely useless and having spent 2 turns drawing it.
Yeah, it's it can be brutal sometimes. And again, another kind of mechanic in there is economy. You need money to be able to do things, to be able to play cards and resolve cards and advance agendas, or if you're the runner, you need the credits to install programs and then if you wanted to trash one of the corporation's card, you need again money to do that. So economy is a big thing in the game, and you have to manage your economy. And again, you can click for a credit, but kind of even in the rule book, there's a section on deck building, and it says if you are deck building, ensure that you can get money over and above the one click for one credit, because otherwise you will just flounder.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of cards in there that do different things.
Yeah.
Economy-wise, and it's kind of an interesting balancing act of, okay, how much money do I need? So how many of these cards do I need? And kind of that's part of the whole joy of the deck building system, I think.
Yeah. As I said before that the games that didn't really go well for me, it was down to draw, but I mean that kind of sounds a little bit arrogant. There were games, and I can remember specific moments in games, such as against the guy who actually won the event in the end. I was playing a game and playing as the corporation, and I put a card down, toyed with the idea of placing an agenda there, which obviously I could then advance and potentially score out to actually win the game on that one. It would have taken me a couple of turns to do that. I decided against that and put a bit of a chum card down there, hoping that he would sort of go and access that, which would free that server up, that I could then go and put something in there that would, it would have bankrupted him to get rid of it, but it was a useful card for him to get rid of, and things like that. And I didn't go with that in the end, and I think that pretty much ended up me losing the game as a result of not doing that in the right way.
Mike, Mike, sorry to cut you off a bit. Is this, thinking about the way Alex is talking and the more I listen to him, is this game going to annoy me the way that Hackers did the first time I saw it? Doesn't now. I love it now. But when I first saw Hackers, I wanted to attack the screen.
I don't think it would, because it doesn't... The game itself does not abuse tech terms that exist.
It sounds like it does, because Alex is using tech terms.
It has its own vocabulary within it, and the game itself does not abuse tech terms.
Okay.
The closest it really gets to kind of a real tech term is ICE.
Which isn't one, really, is it?
Yeah, no. It's
a sci-fi term, really. I've never heard that used in professional security services ever.
Yeah.
Not that somebody's trying to be clever, and is not.
No, it very much deals with a clearly fictionalized world. It does have a couple of references in there. Things like the the tagged Bitcoin.
Yes, too good to be true.
Yes.
That's okay.
Which is
or TBT.
Yes. There's little things there like that are kind of almost real world references, and also the Haas Bioroid director.
Director Haas.
Bioroid. I like the anime references and the.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sounds like it's got like roots in William Gibson, but it's also gone to where the cyberpunk stuff that's come out of Japanese, isn't it?
Little bit of Appleseed in there as well.
Yeah.
To come hurtling back to kind of the intro to Netrunner, I think it might be good actually to also kind of discuss the actual factions in there, and what they are and who they are and what they do. Maybe I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
Yeah, that might be just a quick one to kind of almost. Yeah.
Because I mean, for the runner, as we said, there's three factions. There's Anarch, who basically want to destroy everything and see everything burnt down to the ground. There is criminals, who, as the name would really suggest, are criminals and want to steal all your money.
It's cunning naming, okay.
Yeah, that's it. There are Shapers, who basically they get their kicks from designing programs and designing ways of getting around things. They're more in it for the thrill of it, as opposed to the accomplishment.
They want to see if they can.
Yes, that's it. They want to see if they can, and they're not nasty about it. But if it means kind of burning a big corporation that's got billions and trillions of dollars, they're not overly fussed about doing that.
I think the kind of the closest analog is that the Shapers are almost white hat hackers, whereas the Anarchs are black hat hackers.
Okay.
And then criminals are more than black hat, as it were.
Yeah, they're going in there and they're stealing, and they are siphoning money off. They're siphoning money off the corporation's accounts.
Yeah.
Never a joke there. There's a card called Account Siphon.
Yeah. I think it's also very good to point out as well that mechanically they all have very different themes about them. You can sort of import one card to another
Yeah.
sort of
We've got a good
faction
mechanic for doing that as well.
at a cost. And it's too complex to really go into, but
Yeah.
you can include a sort of a splash of colour, as it were. I mean, so you got the criminals are kind of very much focused on sneaking into places and nicking your money and stuff like that. Then you kind of got the shapers who are very much more focused on, here is my very boostable piece of ice-breaking equipment. I can do anything I like with it.
Yeah. On the corp side, the first corp, I believe, is Hasboroid, Bioroid, which, as the name would suggest, are a company that manufacture bioroids.
Yeah.
All their security, their ice is mainly is bioroids, effectively there who kill you with brain damage, which is a type of damage in the game. They are, very much about building bioroids and building their decks up in a way that the bioroids help them score their agendas, and I'd say they're building a better world is one of their identities, which is quite apt for what they do. They're all kind of about building and stacking and engineering things to their advantage.
Yeah.
The next one is Jinteki, who are their backstory in the game is they manufacture clones. They are the ones who.
They're the biggest competitor of Hasboroid, essentially.
Yes, but in the sense that while Haas are creating bioroids, they are creating clones, which differ slightly. Obviously, the clones are direct clones of people. The way that they do that is, there was one specific runner identity called Ken Tenma, and the Tenma line of clones were basically cloned off what was deemed to be the best delivery driver. So they were basically cloned from him, and the Tenma line of clones is designed to be delivery drivers, and they are delivery agents for, you would buy a Tenma clone and he'll be a delivery agent for you. But the way they protect themselves is with ice that basically, again, kills you. They are one of the kill me decks, as they are referred to. Their sole purpose sometimes is just literally, as opposed to winning the game by scoring agendas, is winning the games by killing the runner. And they can do it very well, and that's kind of what the deck I played with.
I was going to say, most famous as a part of the Shell game when I was playing.
Yeah. Well, they're, again, another gaming term, the Shell game. Is effectively never scoring agendas and just putting things out there that are going to kill people.
But basically, they just make lots and lots of servers with no protection and say, some of these are good for you. Most of these will kill you.
Yeah.
You need to choose where you're going. And just watching the runner go, I have no idea. Just nothing.
Yeah.
Just watching them beat themselves up as they try and run into things. It's hilarious.
Yes, but also a little disheartening when you got like 6 servers out there and somehow they managed to pick all the right ones and none of the wrong ones, or all the right ones for them and none of the right ones for you. The next of the corporations is NBN. I'm not sure what that actually stands for, but they are.
It used to be, I think, News Broadcast Network. However, it now just stands for NBN.
Yeah. NBN, as News Broadcast Network would suggest, are the broadcasting, social media. They basically control anything that you see. Adverts, they are tapped into people's minds, so they know what people like, and they are able to deliver direct marketing to that person based on their personality and what will work best for that person. And it's all very kind of techy and
They've got a business that's very much based on information, which is why they're very, very good at. There's a mechanic called tagging, where you've located where the runner is, and they're very good at putting that on there.
That they are. So yeah, and then they again they are they will use those tags to then score their agenda, and there's a few cards in there that are a little bit broken. They are renowned for a technique in the game that's called fast advance, which normally you wouldn't be able to advance agenda out of your hand, but MBN have several tricks that allow them to do that, and effectively win the game before the runner even has a chance to get set up and start accessing your cards. So that's something to look out for. And the final faction is Wayland, who I'm not. What do you think? They're in kind of mining and power and that sort of thing.
Terraforming, perhaps?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't imagine where I got that from.
Where did that come from?
They're also,
So, like, just random guess. I'm just really good at that kind of thing.
they're also heavily part of the financial industries.
Yeah. They reward you for
wing,
playing.
perhaps, as well.
They are heavy industry and old stock market stuff.
Yeah.
So
Would be accurate, I would say.
they are the core pie play.
Yeah, and one of the things they will look to do is again, I mean, in the game there's three types of damage: net damage, which is the damage you suffer on the net, which is temporary; meat damage, which is the damage you suffer in the real world, again temporary; and brain damage, which is effectively where your brain gets melted, and that is permanent. I don't think there's anything out there yet at this stage that gets rid of brain damage.
Not that I've seen. Stuff that prevents it, but not the stuff that gets rid of it once it's there.
Yeah. And the way that the Wayland is, they kind of their damage relies on meat damage. They do a lot of meat damage, so they've got a lot of kind of real world cleanup teams and kind of secret ops, grey ops, black ops, that sort of things that go around just basically putting bullets in runners' heads.
The whole thing about Wayland is that eventually they will find out where you live and they will bomb your flat. The flavor text of, Scorched Earth, one of their most prominent cards, is something along the lines of, I would like to remind people that there were valuable Wayland employees in that building as well. Yes, they are...
I'd go as far as saying none of the corporations employ nice people.
They may employ nice people at lower levels, just not at the higher levels.
Yeah, I'm not convinced personally.
I don't think there are many nice people in the entire game of Netrunner, and that may be the point. They are all psychopaths, criminals, evil masterminds, and various things in between.
Yeah.
Actually, that going through the factions description is even more, sort of got me more interested, to be honest. I didn't realise how many references there were to the various animes and
there are lots of different sections, and as I say, as Mike said earlier on, I can only encourage anyone out there who is on the fence to spend 25-30 quid on the core set. If you don't like it, it's 25-30 quid. Chances are you will like it. And as kind of the guy in the stall I bought it off at the Games Expo said to me, if you only want it as a box game that you break out every so often on a games night, it will work as that, using the core decks. You can do a little bit of deck building in there with the use of the influence from just bringing cards from other factions into your deck. But the core decks out the box work. You'll get hooked and you'll just want to play it more. And so, as I say, sitting on the fence, definitely look at it and definitely jump in.
And even then, if it's something you bring out every so often and you think, oh, we've played this 10, 15 times, I want something different. It's what, £10 for one of the expansion packs?
Yeah.
Which will add so much to the game. You don't even have to buy them all, just pick one. And I guarantee you there will be some interesting cards in there that you'll go, ooh, I think I can do this now. It is very good. Although, if you're faint of heart and don't like having your nerves jangled a bit, maybe not for you.
Maybe not the game for you, yeah.
Because there are those moments sitting there as the corp with like 4 agendas in hand, ready to be stolen by the runner, and you're thinking, don't run on my hand, don't run on my hand, don't run on my hand.
There was, at the tournament, actually, as we were finishing this, actually the last game of the day, as we were finishing our games, well, most people had actually finished. I was watching another game, actually, and there was just a massive roar went up off from one of the tables, and kind of everyone went rushing over to see what had happened. And in fact, the corporation the both players were, I think, on 5 or 6 points each. One more agenda either way would have won the game. And the runner was kind of taking his last turn. The time had been called, and he kind of had one more turn each. Runner was taking his last turn, kind of looked at a few different servers, knew that there was an agenda in one server, but just didn't have the money to get through the ice to get into that server and steal the agenda. Kind of came to the conclusion that running on the hand where he knew there must be agendas was going to be the only solution. So he ended running on the hand, managed to get through, suffered quite a bit of damage getting there, lost the majority of the cards in his hand. As it turned out, the corporation had 4 agendas in hand and 1 non-agenda card in hand, and the runner pulled the non-agenda card out of the hand, and the corporation then advanced the agenda that was already out on the table and ended up winning the game. And it was just kind of to have that for both sides, kind of at that point, to be so close to winning the game or losing the game on one card draw. It's kind of that's what the game is all about, and it's what kind of makes it so exciting is that and again, to a degree, I can see why somebody maybe would find that frustrating, that the game can be won and lost on one card draw.
Well, the big theory behind it when Richard Garfield designed, because it is designed by the same person who made Magic the Gathering originally.
Yeah.
He looked at his design for Magic the Gathering and said, okay, assuming 2 players of equal skill, they can take 2 decks, and the one with the better deck should win all the time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fair enough for some, but he wanted to introduce something that was more akin to poker, where you could sit there on a hand that was just garbage.
Yeah.
But if you made the other person believe that it wasn't, you were still in with the game.
Yeah.
And it's that whole skill set, which is, it's not necessarily one you find amongst gamers all the time. It is a very interesting one to kind of observe.
Maths is also a thing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there's a few occasions over the weekend where you're kind of looking and thinking, right, I can go there. It's going to cost me this much to break that one, and then I can do that, and then it's only going to cost me 2, and then it's like, oh crap, I've got one too few credits to do that. I'm going to have to wait a turn. And then you do wait that turn, and they score the agenda out that you were going to try and run on, or
or an extra piece of ice goes down.
Ice goes down, or they manage to sort of get rid of all your money. There are ways they can do that. There's so many things that can swing it, and then you have to come up with a new plan and think to yourself, right, I've got these cards in my hand, I can do this and that. And then I'd say it's so immersive, and I'm not to say I'm a fanboy, but I'm quite into it in a minute.
You sound quite enthusiastic to me. Yeah.
Also, I'm going to say this, and it is almost a rarity amongst card games because a lot of them have forgotten basic principles. It is very nicely designed, and there is good artwork throughout.
Yes.
It might sound like a small thing, but when you're staring at these cards for several hours in a tournament, they have to be nicely designed, and they are all very clearly laid out, very nice design, good artwork, and
there are 1 or 2 that are maybe better than others, but all in all, like you say, I wouldn't say there is one piece of artwork that you would look at and say that is horrible. Get that out of my face.
Yeah, I think with anything, you find your better cards and your worse looking cards, but there are some genuinely nice pieces of artwork.
There are some particularly beautiful cards, like I'm looking at, for the ladies anyway, Adonis campaign. Looking at that one as we speak.
I was going to say, the playmat that you actually won does have that very nice piece of Rainer artwork on.
Rainer. That's the deep red artwork, isn't it? That's on there. Yeah, it's very nice. Well, I'm not sure actually what to do that. And to come to that, to kind of come to a conclusion about the tournament itself, I ended up coming second. The actual tournament organizer came first, and quite nobly he sort of said that he wasn't going to choose a prize from the prize pot. So kind of the Fancy Flight Games way of doing a prize pool is a selection of effectively limited edition goodies that you you distribute to the players, and some tournaments do it that first place will win a set prize, second place wins this prize, third place. The tournament we went to just did it that the first place, highest place picks first, and then it kind of goes down from there, which was quite a nice way of doing it. That it's going to kind of fall the right way, and if say perhaps one person has the playmat already and doesn't need another one, that might fall down to second or third place, and it's quite nice in that. But I came second. As I say, the first place decided not to pick anything, so I ended up coming away with a playmat, which you would imagine first place would normally take. There were some deck boxes there as well. The winners as well got to pick a few additional exclusive art cards. So I got an alternate art noise, which is one of the Anarch identities from the core set. And just for turning up, also got a couple of other alternate art cards, which is quite nice as well, because they are some of the cards that are one-offs from the core set. So it helps boost up the amount of cards you have in the core set up to the maximum of 3 that you can have in your hand. So yeah, I came away with the playmat, and I'm not sure actually what to do with the playmat, whether to actually use it to play on, or to find a nice frame and put it up on the wall or something. It's a lovely piece.
I would say that having a playmat to play on, tremendously good for card games.
I've actually already got a playmat. That's kind of the ironic thing. I actually bought a playmat because I thought there's no way I'm going to win a playmat, so I need to go out and buy one. And then the first tournament I go to, again, not to sound too cocky, but I ended up winning a playmat. So, but one thing I would say is that the playmat I've got is an Ultra Pro, an Ultra Pro playmat with a piece of art from a kind of quite a bizarre, random Singapore game from Singapore called General's Order. And it's a very nice deck and a very nice piece of art. And the Ultra Pro one is significantly thicker and I would say of a higher quality than the Fantasy Flight Games mat that you were awarded for winning. So that kind of as well
I was going to say,
tempts me to kind of play with the more sturdy and what looks like a more sturdy and disposable mat, really.
with my World of Warcraft ones, there are, how can I say, some better and lower quality ones. And you can tell at what point the money went out of the game, shall we say.
Yeah.
Tissue paper, that's nice. That's.
I mean, at the end of the day, and that's the thing with the playmat, it is there to protect your cards. So it is there to take the abuse that your cards would take from the table. And that is why I'm kind of tempted to not play with that playmat. But we'll see. Maybe I'll take it too if I go to some big tournaments.
This is also the point at which you start considering double sleeving your cards.
Yeah, I've not got that far yet, but it is a thing.
Double sleeving.
Yeah.
Yes, you have a smaller transparent sleeve that just hugs the card, and then a slightly larger one that goes in kind of almost upside down.
So you would, yeah, I was going to say you would put the smaller sleeve effectively kind of from the top down, or insert it effectively upside down into the sleeve, if you will, and then you'd put it the right way around in the proper sleeve. I think that's more of a thing in Magic where you're playing with cards that are of a high monetary value.
Yeah.
In Netrunner, again, another kind of thing to say about Netrunner, it's a living card game, so any expansion that you buy will have the same cards as every other expansion of that type.
And everything beyond the starter box will contain one full set of everything.
Yeah, so 3 of everything. The core set, unfortunately, doesn't. There are cards in the core set that are 1-ofs or 2-ofs, which is why it's handy to buy a couple of core sets. So, those are more rare and to a degree more valuable. You can pick them up on eBay for significant sums of money sometimes. There's one Sansan City Grid particularly that often sells on eBay for quite high value because in theory, you may well buy a whole core set for just that one card. Some people might anyway. So yeah, it's a cracking game. I had a great day yesterday. I say a bit disappointed not to get the full 5 games from the day, but happy with my playmat nonetheless.
Okay, that's
Cool.
cool.
Any questions you've got, Kurt? Any the details
been
of any
quite well,
retails
Lloyd.
where you can buy your...
Been interrupting you quite well all the way through, I think. It's just uninteresting. It's made me want to get into it more. That's for sure. I'll certainly play it at some point somewhere.
Well, I was going to say, maybe at a wargaming event, decently soon, we can find a...
You're not going to get some gears, are you?
Sadly, no, I am moving that
Yeah,
week.
I gathered that.
It was something that came up, and it was like, well, I could go to that convention, or I could make sure I moved in for when I move work. So...
yeah, that's the thing.
Life takes precedence, unfortunately. Although that said, I have, already gone out and found a new gaming group for when I move down to Basingstoke. So I shall
Kind of
be...
a standard, isn't it?
Pardon?
That's kind of a standard, isn't it? You need a gaming group.
Well, yeah. I've already gone out and I've contacted the Heavy Brigade in Basingstoke. Well, sorry, they're in Newbury, I think. And only half an hour from where I'll be living, which means it's actually a shorter journey than I currently have now to the Dark Lords, which is 45 minutes there and 45 back.
Cool. And you're not that far from Oxford either, which I saw you were liaising with those boys too.
A few times in the past that you're not actually that much further from where I play than you are from where you play at the moment.
Yeah, that's actually true. I could go to Warsaw. It's only 15 minutes away, but unfortunately the people I know will go to Dudley. So anyway, I think that's a topic. To be honest,
a topic.
Yeah. I think we've discussed, and if people have any questions, they can just Twitter at you or me. Or Kurt. He probably won't be able to answer them, but he can.
Yes, everybody tweet Kurt.
I'll pretend to answer them and make stuff up.
Sounds like a good plan.
So, Kurt, do you favour NBN or Wayland for tag and bag?
Purely on the basis of names and association, I immediately lean towards Wayland.
Yes.
Because I've never heard the other one, and I have a vague, wrong, incorrect idea about what Wayland is.
They do have a logo that is strikingly similar to...
I bet they do. And I so nearly bought T-shirts with a W on recently.
Yeah. So, for those not in the know, Wayland, Utah...
Stop! For those
people aren't in the know, they shouldn't be listening.
Hang on, what the actual fuck, for those who are not in the know, if you don't know what Wayland is, Jesus.
We have to assume that at least someone out there has not seen one of the Alien movies.
You're joking.
No, you it.
Actually,
no,
Alex, you've seen the Alien movies, haven't you?
Yeah.
All Prometheus.
Therefore, it's unreasonable for anyone not to have seen them if Alex has seen them.
Oh, that's harsh.
What do you mean? Alex has seen them? How could Alex not have seen them?
No, I'm saying Alex has seen them, therefore everyone should have seen them.
Indeed. Good. I like that logic. It's sound.
Yeah. Right, should we do a break or just go straight into...
No, a little break's good for me.
Oh, okay. We'll take a break, and we'll see you all on the other side. There we go.
Indeed.
Cool. We'll go and shut the door, because the back door's wide open. And, sorry?
I said,
well,
hey.
Mr. Brown is almost certainly hiding behind the raspberries anyway.
Well, you may enjoy your comfort break.
I will. Back in a sec.
Okay.
Talk amongst yourselves.
No, I refuse.
I refuse to be told what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So we will sit here in stony silence.
Yeah. So I think that went better than you thought it was going to at the start.
I think, yes, it had a stumble at the start, but then went quite well. All told.
Thus proving we can talk about basically anything for 30 minutes.
Indeed we can. It would appear. What are we talking back out of the break?
Just a painting table. Well, hobby table, rather.
Sponsored by... Oh, no, not sponsored.
No.
Although Terrain Geek is doing terrain for SmogCon, I believe.
I have no idea. To put it
John
this,
spending...
John is planning SmogCon all on his own.
Yes, he is.
I have said to him that any help he wants, he's more than welcome to rely for me on stuff. But he seems decently happy, kind of making sure it's all done by his own hand. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
So
My concern is, though, that after this year, well, no, I'm not going to go into that actually, because we're live still, aren't we?
yes, we are.
And there may be people listening.
Not at the moment there aren't. Although
Oh.
this does go up fully unexpurgated on YouTube, so you know.
Anybody listening, watching stuff, penguins?
We don't
No.
really said we're going to be recording on any social media, though, have we? So it's not really like people would know we're recording.
Anyone who follows us on Google Plus will have had an invite, but that's about it, really.
That's a short list.
I'm going to say, how many people are actually on Google Plus anymore? Except us for the purpose of Hangouts.
Actually, quite a lot, because it's also it was previously the YouTube comment system. It's also linked with Gmail and something else that I have forgotten.
Excellent.
G-string?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, there's quite a lot of people on Google Plus, but that's largely through being forced to be on it more than anything. So,
Archer. And there's a piece of ice
oh, Jesus.
that I significantly dislike, both as a corp and a runner. I just don't get why people would sacrifice an agenda.
What? Okay, you don't play Wayland.
No.
Just the amount of times where I've had the runner coming through and just gone, yeah, sacrifice my 2 cost 1 agenda point. Okay, that comes in, trashes your ice suite. Your icebreakers. Okay, so you've got nothing for about 3 or 4 turns while I just do whatever I like.
It is a 6 strength sentry, and there are no good sentry breakers, unfortunately. Well, none that would get through that and go.
Not cheaply.
Not cheaply, because Fem is probably the best, and that's going to cost you. It's 2 for each strength, and it's going to cost. So it's going to be 8 to get up to strength.
No, because Fem can bypass. So
yeah, as long as she's if you had a Fem already installed that was bypassing another piece of ice,
yeah.
then it would be 8 to get to strength, and then 4, so 12 to break it.
I'm fairly certain there's a decent one in Anarch that if you've got the Shaper Strength Booster.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Cheaply.
Personal touch.
Yeah. Because my one built deck at the moment for runner is actually Shaper with Anarch Icebreakers.
Okay.
Because you can sit and mess about with the strength. Like, yeah, that gets +2 strength, and I've got helpful AI that I can use for another +2 if I blow it up. Which
Hostile takeover. Dislike that card.
As Wayland, I have unleashed that card on so many. It actually almost put Chris Cawthorne out of the game. Because blowing up that one card, it's like, yeah, I blow up your entire Icebreaker suite.
Oh,
right.
so trashing hostile takeover for Archer.
Yeah. And it just put him out of the game for several turns. It's beautiful.
Some of the HB ice though is wrong. Wotan, for example. Have you seen Wotan?
Yes, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Let's have a look. I know he's 14 to res. I can't think what set he's in.
He's in one of the early ones, I think.
Yeah, I think he is.
But a lot of the HB stuff is...
Janus as well. Janus 1.0.
Oh, Janus is just
15 to res, strength 8, strength sentry, that does 4 brain damage effectively. Do 1 brain damage, do 1 brain damage, do 1 brain damage, do 1 brain damage.
One of the best ones I've played recently was, again against Chris, was the one where once you get through, instead of accessing, you can rearrange all the ice as long as the right number's there.
Yeah.
And as he was playing Jinteki, it broke his head. It was like, okay, so I'm going to move your chum just before the server, and I'm going to put this on the outer edge, and then everything here that's face down, I'm just going to put in a pile and shuffle and put that back. And the next turn, he's just sat there going, I have no idea what you've done. I know you can get into my hand for one, and that's worrying. I'm like, yep. It just turned a horrible situation into, I am going to beat your face in.
Where's there Eve? Is that an Eve? Is Wotan in thingy? Creation Control? It's really bothering me now where Wotan is. Can't find any of the ice from there.
Oh, your mind's just boggling now, isn't it?
No, I've just been going through my core box or organising all my sets into my core box. Victor, Ichi 2.0, Wotan I think is the previous one to that. No, that's Howler. Heimdall 2.0. 7 barrier, 11 to rares. Ooh. No, it's not there. Wotan. Come on, Wotan. Do you know what I could do? Just go on Netrunner DB. Something we didn't mention that we probably should have mentioned.
It's fine. Search for cards. Wotan. Second thoughts.
Second thoughts. Which one's that one? That's the second one in that. So it's doing static.
Yep.
So
Cost
Exodus.
14, influence 5, strength 10. End the run unless the runner spends click. End the run unless the runner pays 3. End the run unless they trash a program. End the run unless they take a brain damage.
Shuts you out pretty much.
And that's kind of what is it? Is it hosted AI use and stuff like that?
Oversight AI, is it?
Oversight AI, that's the
No.
one.
Is it Oversight AI? Yeah, it allows you to. But yeah, if they break all the subroutines, which who is ever going to break all the subroutines on that? It gets trashed.
It's so weird hearing Alex say techie type things.
It is true.
I'm sorry.
No, it's quite funny. It's just a bit weird.
Should we come back and just finish off?
Oh, we could just complete the podcast. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Well, it is 11, so I thought I might as well wrap us up. Right, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that break.
I did.
I did.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it's virtually the same music as ever, so, yeah,
There's
you should be
music?
bored of it by now. Yeah, there is music in the break. I'll put like a little 2-minute clip in there. You're not telling me that you've never listened to any one of the 50-odd episodes?
I
No.
have never listened to a complete episode. No, never. I've been played the outtakes.
Good lord.
Yep. I had somebody today. Have we come back, by the way? I had somebody today messaging me, texting, like as if he was joining in the conversation from like 3 months ago. It's like, oh, I played the Stapling Wars. I was like, what the fuck? What? And I was like, gradually worked out that it was a conversation that we'd had on the podcast in like March or something.
That was the last real episode we released, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
Yes, totally. I do have one that's sat there fully edited and ready to release, so that's fine. Okay. Well, having done our topic, should we move on to the hobby table area thing?
I've been busy, but you can do something else first if you want.
No, I don't really want to. Kurt,
Oh, hello.
what have you been doing?
Well, it's funny you should ask that, Michael. I've been painting trolls. Well, I've been painting a troll. It's probably more accurate. Well,
I
two.
think anyone who's seen your Twitter feed has seen the glory that you have created.
Yes. Well, the progression as well, because it starts from the raw plastic and the priming, and there's been quite a few stages posted on Twitter of Dozer and Smig. Yeah, I'm very much back into painting my trolls. They're awesome. I've managed to get it on release day from Firestorm. Other online stores are available, but you know, if you're not on release day, Firestorm. But and harass them on email. I would a few days before. Works for me. And they're going, when am I going to get my shiny toys? Literally sending them that.
To be fair, Rob can be quite helpful when you say, "Yeah, I've got a tournament here, so can I have it like 2 days earlier, if that's at all possible?"
I paid them, and on the Monday, when it's all for relation on the Wednesday, going, when are you expecting these to come in? Because I'd like to know when to get excited about my shiny toys. And they were like, you should get your shiny toys on Wednesday. I'm like, very excited. So yeah, Dozen and Smig, start to finish in about 10 days. Really enjoyed painting that. Really got myself back into painting. Really happy with the results. And I've got more trolls back on the table. I've got 3 storm trolls and a pyre troll. Pyre troll had already been started, and the slag trolls, the storm trolls have been assembled, need green stuff and working on. They're there to do that. Another news, I did the highly clever thing of, I'll drive down to Cornwall on a Saturday morning in the middle of the summer. So that took a while. To trade trolls for trolls that are older blue trolls that I have duplicates of for shiny elves. So I now have the startings of Retribution of Shara.
Oh,
Shara.
Yes, indeed.
Whatever will be, will be.
So that's another faction.
See.
I do think I am
Shara.
at the tipping point. Shush you. I'm at the tipping point where actually there are less factions that I don't own than I do.
I think you mean fewer.
Yeah, that too.
Oh dear. All you need is a nice Scorn army now, you know.
No, not by the score.
Fair
Oh,
enough.
you know one thing I've done recently?
Oh, good lord.
Alex,
That we
what have you
did,
done
in fact,
recently?
both me and you, Mike, together in the same room.
Yes, we were together recently in the same room, and working cooperatively
Doing it
as a
at the
team.
same time. We were doing it at the same time
Yes,
with each other.
quite.
We're doing it together
With several hundred other people.
with, yes,
In a
over 100 other people well, they weren't doing it with us. There were about 5 or 6 of us that were doing it together.
They just wanted to watch.
And we were kind of watching them, I suppose. So they were doing it and we were watching.
Yeah, as we all got hot and sweaty together.
Yes, very hot on the first day specifically. It lasted 2 days, Kurt.
Yeah.
Wow.
The second day was a little cooler. I think a lot of people were more.
What did Mrs. Alex think of that?
She
didn't tell her,
doesn't
did
know
you?
exactly what we were
No,
doing.
you
I
didn't
don't
tell
think
her.
she
I think that's
wants
probably
to know,
wise.
to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
she
phoned
doesn't
you in
really
to
want to
let
know.
her know.
No, not so much. I phoned her a couple of times during the
Okay.
day.
Should we just tell people what we're on about?
Yeah, me and Mike, we helped to run. We didn't really run. We helped referee and generally corral people between tables at the ETC this last weekend gone.
Oh, yeah, that happened. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that happened.
which is still a fun-looking tournament. I mean, there was a great attitude amongst all the players there.
34 teams were there.
Something along those lines. I didn't have to make too many rulings. I know that one did include a ruling on whether someone could charge and double-handed throw.
No.
No, you cannot double-handed throw as your charge attack.
No.
Oh. Yeah.
Did
sad
kind of
times.
used to be able to a long time ago. But I'm not sure that's quite valid then.
Well, you can off a charge do the chain attack.
Yeah. But there's not very many. There's not very many things that can do that.
No, there aren't. So yeah, but that Northwest Gaming Centre gets bloody hot. That's all I can say. I mean, it's a decent enough venue, but
I do know it's warm.
yeah, it was literally sweating buckets for the first day.
Yeah, you're back on the first day. Was not a pretty sight.
Don't even go there. So it was nice to have the ice cream truck to end the day.
Yeah.
It was a nice touch. I think in the end, was it Team Scotland?
Yeah,
On that
Team
one?
Scotland won it. Team GB. Or a team from GB, shall I say.
I think they really appreciated being told that that they were representing Great Britain at that moment. and I think it was Martin's Man-Whores in second.
Yes, well, Man Friends. Martin's Man Friends.
Yes, Tony insisted they'd be called Martin's Man Friends,
Yes,
which was
sir.
a cracking team of lads from
Cosmopolitan team. A couple of Germans, a Slovakian, and
was it Daniel Naus,
Daniel Naus, German. Another German, I can't think what his name is.
that was
Martin, check.
Rickard Nelson,
Ricard, of course.
yeah, and,
Sweden, isn't he?
pardon?
Ricard is Swedish, isn't he?
Yes, because hails from Sweden, plays Gators,
Yes.
and plays them very well, apparently.
And paints them very well.
I haven't seen that, so I couldn't say. But yes, all largely went off without a hitch. I think there's kind of been the usual array of comments, which scenery-wise, I can understand for some of the tales. I think a fair few of them had a good mix of terrain on there. There were a couple that were a little odd. But I think that was largely because at the point where we were setting up the tables, people had already moved in and put the bags on them. And there comes a point where you just go, you know what? I'm not going to get people to move anymore. I've had enough. I'm going to go and lie down somewhere. I think the other comment that's been made was about the food, which I had the hot dog both days and it was fine.
Yeah, that kind of, and that does sum it up a little bit. There was food included. Unfortunately, the selection wasn't great. What kind of on Saturday, the first day, for lunch, the choice was either a hot dog or a burger with chips. Vegetarian option was chips.
Yeah, I think. Well, I know not a lot of wargamers are vegetarian.
No, it's more than you'd be. Yeah.
I know, but I was going to say at least one of the judges was vegetarian. That's the point. Where it's like, okay, you're kind of obligated to provide an option that's not,
Meat.
slightly deadly.
So that was the kind of food that was included. That people were given as part of their ticket price. On the Saturday evening, they arranged a barbecue there, and the barbecue consisted of burgers and sausages. So it was burgers and sausages for lunch and burgers and sausages for tea. The barbecue was kind of paid for, so we weren't obligated to eat that food.
I couldn't stand at the nearby beef eater.
Yeah,
having ribs and chicken.
Good. Yeah.
So,
I mean, all told, although those complaints were raised and it was kind of a slight concern.
Everyone agreed it was a good event overall, and it's largely made up by the fact that there is a huge community there who all want to play some good, fun team War Machine.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, that's what you need in an event. Everything else beyond that kind of optional. You can always go out and get bottles of water and a sandwich, and that's fine. But the ETC definitely has the atmosphere it needs to kind of keep itself rolling on.
Yeah. And long may it continue, because it is, as I say, a good event. It's well attended. It's something that I think each year the community looks forward to.
Oh, absolutely. I do know that Team Bazinga look forward every year to just dodging the spoon at the last moment. So, and they always come equipped with the Hat of Triumph and the Tutu of Shame.
Nice.
Anyone who's seen Team Bazinga will know what I mean.
I've experienced the tutu of shame in other locations.
Yes. No, I'm not going to query that further.
It's still gaming related, I'll have you know.
Oh, good, okay.
Yes, it wasn't actually meaning to imply anything else, believe it or not, for a change.
James Brown in your back garden is not gaming related.
As it is. If you can see dice on the shelf, surely that means it's gaming.
Anyway.
Moving on.
Any further hobby stuff from you, Alex?
No, just playing with Netrunner cards really is all I've been doing. Other than that,
fair enough.
Building decks and breaking decks and
myself, I have pretty much over the last couple of weeks only managed to get in a game of Super Dungeon Explore.
Cool, never played that. I keep meaning to buy that at some point.
Until until August the 8th, so you've still got another 4 days. You can get a very discount set of Super Dungeon Explorer. I think it's $113. Will get you delivered to your door, admittedly in December, the full new set with an expansion and loads of other bits and pieces besides.
Wow.
I've gone for the full works from their Kickstarter.
I was just on Kickstarter.
But they've opened up the pledge manager to anyone who wants to give them money, essentially. So I'll give you the link in a bit.
Cool.
But
I just found it. Forgotten King.
Yes.
Google is my friend.
Yes. I mean, I played. They're currently in version 1.6 of the original rules because there may have been some slight jankiness in it when it was released. As with
You're
all.
a bad man. I don't like you anymore.
Yeah.
I wasn't meaning. Please give me a way to buy it now.
Yes. Then you have.
How much does this cost? How much cheaper is this than this? The expansion is pretty much free and it's a lower cost for the box as well.
Basically, you're paying £65 plus postage for the game, and I think the base game is
Blacksmith shop.
currently £50.
It was £80, isn't it?
RRP versus what's the on-the-shelf price I'm talking.
Okay.
So let me just check that. Super Dungeon. All comes pre-assembled now, which is nice. Oh, sorry, the off-the-shelf price from Games Law, which is where I usually get my prices from, is £60.
Right. So instead of £60, you're paying 66, and you get a boatload of extra stuff.
Yeah, essentially.
Rulebook, game box. Is it not the same? I can't see what you get extra. You'll have to explain this to me, but not right now.
Yes. No, I'll go through that. That's fine. But yeah, Super Dungeon Explorer, if you don't know about it, it's a chibi kind of dungeon crawler.
Very nice.
If you ever played Gauntlet years ago, it's a board game version of that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
That's a good explanation of it. There are some heroes, there are lots of monsters. In the version that I have, someone plays the boss. In the version that's coming up, you don't have to have a boss. Well, so you have a boss, but you don't have a player playing the boss. And it's largely that. Kill enemies, get loot, become tougher, kill more enemies, find boss, slap in face. And it's a good, fun game. And I burned Jimmy alive. So that's a bonus.
Always for a good game.
Well, you know, he had the audacity to revive the druid from the dead. So I had to step in and slap him around the face as the boss several times. And it worked. So, yeah, it's a fun board game with some very cool miniatures. If you don't like PVC, you're going to be disappointed because they are all PVC.
But then again, it's similar in a way to kind of Netrunner. That I suppose if you just buy the box on its own, you know, that will be enough to have a pickup game every now and again, play with your friends, see where it takes you. If you don't want to go any further, or is
I
that
would
not
say it's more of an investment because it is £60, but for the amount of miniatures you get and the amount of stuff you get in the box,
yeah,
I think it's worth it. I mean, I think
and board game speaking, is £60 that much?
It's on the upper end,
Yeah.
really. I mean, the only common one I can think of that's more than £60 is something like Fortune and Glory, which goes up to £80, but that is an utterly ridiculous amount of stuff. I mean, that is kind of, here is your crate of things. It's the sort of board game you're not comfortable holding in just, you know, with one person. It's like
I must admit that when I was at the ETC, they had the Element Games gaming store based in the Northwest Gaming Centre had the Carcassonne big box, which is Carcassonne plus, I think, is it 9 expansions?
Is it all of them?
It might not be 9. It's a hefty size
nine now. It's got to be close to it now.
I think that was about 60 quid.
Yeah. I mean, the thing you've got to look at with board games is, it's like, well, yes, it's £60, but if you get 10 plays out of it for 4 people a time. How much are you paying per person per time? It's like, £1.50. Well, that's decent value. It's cheaper than going to the cinema.
Yeah.
Which I think is something a lot of people forget about this hobby, is that it's not like those miniatures wear out as soon as you use them. They're going to be around a while. And if all else fails, generally they've got resale value. I know Super Dungeon Explorer has for a very long time, because the original run was done in limited numbers. So, but yes, that's my hobby stuff. That's all I've done, other than the ETC. So, I think at this point, unless you've got any other business to talk about?
No, I can't think of anything immediately up to hand. Apart from I bought a load more X-Wing since last time we spoke, but that was because it was a new release. But
I would say for X-Wing, I do want to try and get Mr. Russ Charles to speak to us, if we can, about he's got an impending Kickstarter. So we'll see if we can talk to people about that.
Yes, we should get him on if we can. If we actually have more shows at all.
Yes. Well, obviously we
will. We will.
With people moving and stuff, it's a bit difficult. But I say people, I mean me.
So we're gonna have different nights, do you think? Or is it gonna die off for quite a while?
Dead. Live long live Elite Cadre.
We'll sort something out. Anyway, I think you
Even
need
if
to
it's just me and Kurt, we'll sort it out.
sign off the show.
You've been listening to Elite Cadre. I've been Alex.
I've been Mike.
I've been Kurt.
Bye.
That's the
Bye, Nick.
Bye. Say goodbye, Nick. No, Nick never said goodbye.
Fuck you, Nick.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Anyway, Kurt, the Forgotten King.
Yeah.
The one you want to look at is the Always Super pledge.
Always super. I can see that $100. Yep.
Yeah. So you get basically it's organised into things. So you get the base board.
Oh, 3 upgrade decks.
The upgrade decks they're only really important if you got the original version.
Oh.
Or if you buy it later, because they'll still come with the original cards.
Right.
So you get the base game, Mistborn Coast Warband, that is an expansion. Brave Mode Candy is an extra hero that won't come in the normal game. Never Lost Cola is pet won't come in the normal game. Same with Kunoichi Candy, Ninja Cola, Shadow Mode. Wandering Minstrel is a chibi that was sculpted by the Kingdom Death guys.
Boo Booty Box.
The Boo Booty bonus box is essentially a larger box to keep all your crap in.
I gathered that.
You get a metal coin into the cardboard one. It replaces all the cardboard tokens with.
There's not more stuff in the blacksmith shop. That's the same, but you bolt onto it.
Yeah. In fact, if you go down, you can see everything that's in there. There's 2 pictures.
Oh, Mr. Warband's $30. Brave Mode and Candy Never Lost Carolina $10. Okay.
So, well, this is on the Always Super Pledge page. If you look,
yeah, I can see it.
There's 2 images at the bottom of everything that's in that box that you'll get. So
how do you actually pledge it then? Because it's all finished.
Yeah, you just buy it for $100, and then you'd select Ninja Ship at the end rather than USPS, because it said USPS shipping $100, Ninja Ship $13.
Okay, I'm confused because how do you buy it when it's finished?
Oh no, this is just the Pledge Manager. They put the Pledge Manager on their store, so if you still want to get in on the Kickstarter.
Oh, I see. So I have to go from here to their store and then.
Yeah.
So I'm on the Kickstarter page. Sorry.
That's what it says. I'll link you to. Are you on Skype?
I'm not online right now, but I can fix that.
So I've
going
got
online now.
I've got a link to the Always Super page. So. Kurt Hansen.
That'd be me.
So they've got a link to the page on Soda Pop with all the pictures at the bottom.
Shiny!
Anything that says upgrade is just cards. So
it's where paying the same money effectively as Super Dungeon Explorer and getting a shitload more stuff.
Yeah.
When's this end? Friday?
Yes. The only thing is that...
Jesus Christ, that's a lot of stuff. You're not wrong.
Yeah, you think that's bad. That's the one... that I've bought.
Even though you already own it, or don't you own it?
I don't own this because Forgotten King is essentially version 2. It's completely new minions, completely new heroes.
How much is that? You pay for that then?
I paid I paid $358 for that. Well, I'd already got $110 in credit with the store.
Okay.
From the soda part, Relic Knights.
No, from because I did the actual Kickstarter. So I'd already got $100 from like a couple of months ago.
That's so tempting. What's the minimum number of players?
Minimum number's 2.
That's what I thought. I do have Cards Against Humanity, by the way. That arrived.
Excellent. Actually, no, minimum number of players for the arcade mode will now be 1.
Oh.
Because you can essentially the boss monster will play itself, and you can just have the players, or you can have one person playing as the dungeon boss and one person playing as all the heroes. And it's up to you then to say, okay, I'm going to play with. It scales. It's like if you've got 2 heroes, you'd have 2 tiles of board. If you had 5 heroes, you'd have a 5-tile board. And it changes the amount of spawn points, the amount of monsters, strength of the boss. The only thing it doesn't scale really well is the healing for heroes. Once you get up to 5 players, the amount of healing that takes place is just hideous. But yeah, they actually weighed the everything pledge. It comes in at £18 of board game.
Pounds of weight.
Yes. There are children smaller than the board game I have just ordered.
My youngest, I thought it doesn't weigh £18.
So, yeah, it's hefty. Anyway, I have to pack my case for tomorrow because I'm playing Jimmy at Epic.
I'm not playing anything tomorrow night. Anything. I'm on call anyway, so I'm not going to play anything.
So I need to pack that. So I shall see you fine gents another day.
Enjoy. Are we going to try and do this again in a couple of weeks? Was the last one?
See where we're up to. Don't
Yeah.
decide anything.
Because it sounds like you're not going to be doing it at all in September until we can revise a date or something along those lines.
It's going to be well September. It's a bit awkward because it'll be the first couple of weeks of the new job, moving in, etc. So that one I'll have to play by ear. But as soon as we can record again.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm still on 150 meg connection where I'm going.
I have 38 now.
Ooh, exciting.
I live in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Anyway, ta-ta.
Cool. Enjoy.